Hi everyone, and welcome back to the European Union Universities Conference. We will now start into our last panel of the conference about the role of European universities in leading regional innovation ecosystems. To moderate this panel, I would ask my colleague Miguel to join me. Hello and welcome to the fourth and last panel of the European Universities Conference. I'm Anya.
Hi, Miguel.
In this panel, we will focus on the role of European universities in leading regional innovation ecosystems. To begin, we will give voice to the keynote speaker, Neavyn, Special Advisor to the Higher Education Authority in Ireland, the HEA, and member of the steering board of Run EU European University, and to Han Brezit from the EU Projects Boosting Team, Innovate Pack Friesland, IPF, Netherlands, and member of the steering board of Run EU European University. Mr. Neavyn, Mr. Brezit, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. And just on my behalf and that of my colleague Han, it is a great pleasure for us to be able to speak here today about the European Zone for Interregional Development, which is part of the Region University Network European University Work Programme. So, my next slide is not moving for some reason. Thank you. So I suppose the question arises here, why would we consider developing a zone for interregional development as part of a regional university network, European University Initiative? And I suppose the thinking behind this is that as regions, we all face significant common challenges, ranging from competitiveness to attracting and retaining new talent, to aging populations, to improving the quality of life, and indeed to advancing the green, digital, and inclusive agenda of the EU. And this, if we could go to the next slide, this leads us on to try to, I'm afraid I will have to say next slide and you'll have to move it on. My slide mover is not working here, so if someone centrally could do that, I would appreciate it. Apologies. Thank you. So, and there's a previous slide. You have to go back to the previous slide. Thank you. So I suppose our response as a collective of regions has been obviously to establish the Run EU programme, which brings together 80,000 students, 8,000 staff, 50 plus faculties, 100 research groups, and countless external partners working together and tapping into our collective strengths to try and solve common problems and challenges. I suppose the question that came to us as we were developing the proposal around Run EU was what could we achieve if we tapped into the potential of all of the educational, regional, government, business and societal stakeholders across all the 8 regions of the 6 countries who are partnering in this initiative and among the population of 7 million people. And the answer to that question is, move to the next slide. Thank you. The answer is a way to develop interregional collaboration among stakeholders in multiple domains across the whole EU. And here we are talking about multiple domains in terms of education, business, industry, society, regional government, and working not just within individual domains, but collectively across those domains. And this has led us on to the development and the concept behind the European Zone for Interregional Development. And if we could move to the next slide, please. So the concept here is that part of the Run EU initiative, we wish to develop a collaborative interregional platform which utilizes a quadruple helix approach to provide collaborative self-help opportunities by working in partnership, which raise the potential of the overall population of our combined regions and will drive societal transformation, active citizenship, social inclusion and multiculturalism, which are key goals and central to the European Union concept of inclusion and integration and creation of a very strong European Union. By taking this approach, we hope to create a new type of collaborative multinational European zone for interregional development, made up of all the constituent regions and partners of Run EU. Can we go to the next slide? There are some key steps in this process. The first step, obviously, is the establishment of our own European university, which we believe will act as the key catalyst in terms of ensuring the sustainable development of our quadruple helix approach and bringing greater connectivity across all the regions of our network. The second stage will be the establishment of other collaborative structures to support the areas of business and enterprise, government and policy, society and culture. And on top of this, then we see EasyID as being able to deliver on smart specialisation strategies and the promotion of common European values and European Union regional cohesion policies, such as the European groupings of territorial cooperation. So if I move to the next slide. And here, if you like, is a diagrammatical representation of what we see in the European Zone for Interregional Development working, with the four pillars: the educational zone, which is being led out by RunEU, which will obviously develop the skills and research capacity of our regions through, as we heard earlier from Nuno, the FASA, the European Innovation Hubs, and the European Mobility Innovation Centre. We have our interregional government zone, which will deliver on regional strategies and policies, regional funding opportunities, develop areas of sustainable regional development, and also encourage environmental progress. We have our interregional business and enterprise zone, which will bring together partners from across the region to work on such items as economic development opportunities, future industry strategies, the bioeconomy, and transnational strategies and support networks for industry and enterprise. And then we also envisage an interregional social and cultural zone, which will drive social innovation, culture and heritage, and European values. But they won't work just as individual entities. We hope they will work across the different elements of the quadruple helix and will come together to formulate the European Zone for Interregional Development, which, as I say, will drive self-help opportunities to promote overall interregional collaboration and development in challenging collective problems and issues that we face going forward. And at this point, I suppose I've given the theory behind our European Zone for Interregional Development. I would like to hand over to my colleague Häme to present to you some of the actual real examples of how this European Zone for Interregional Development is already commencing and starting to do its work on the initiation of RunEU. And with that, I'll hand over to you, Häme. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Neavyn. Yeah, as an illustration, and maybe I can have the next slide, please, of the point you are making, but also the points that already were being made this morning in the great talk of Dr. Thomas Wieko of OECD. I would like to present briefly a few bottom-up run partner initiatives. They are still in their conceptual phase, but they could very well grow into larger run or even EU projects. And they reflect exactly the idea that it's not only the regional universities that can function in their own region as a strong project engine for the grand challenges, but that they could also do that together in the quadruple helix in an inter-regional context. So outside in and inside out, as Mr. van der Snee already mentioned in panel 3. Here we have an example of such a thing. Grendel Games is a company in serious gaming, number one in Friesland, in our region, but works together with IPCA in the north of Portugal, one of our run members. They have had some serious workshops, and out of that is coming now a diffusion of all kinds of ideas. The game is very simple. It's for school children. They have to reduce water in the game, but they can only win the game as a class if they go back home and tell the parents that all together in the families they have to reduce the water use. So the game has a direct effect on what the households are doing in water reduction. The workshops that Grendel Games and IPCA so far have led, amongst others, to working together with the Portuguese water companies, but also to a spread of the game so far now under 350,000 households in the EU. And so here we see a university from Portugal, a Dutch creative business, a little bit of seed money and facilitation from the Frisian government. And I'm really curious what will happen next step. Next example. This started on the Wadden Islands in the north of the Netherlands in Friesland, where the nature organizations. So the next one, please. Yeah, thank you. That started in the north of Friesland on the islands, where particularly the nature organizations, they want to build future homes in a circular way, using the latest digital technology and preferably even with local materials and on location. We've been looking everywhere, but in the Run EU network we could find it, and particularly here in the CDRSDP department of Lyria Technology, this fantastic department and laboratory where they can 3D print bricks from waste streams or other streams, combining them, maybe I can have the next slide, with glue that they get from natural trees as binder material. So they can really 3D print large bricks on a local material and waste material basis. Now, we brought this back to the Netherlands, and there is, of course, in Friesland a lot of attention for this to build a project out of it. But the interesting thing is that now also the Air Force in Friesland, we have one of the main Air Force bases in our region, wants to build a demonstration facility in Leeuwarden, in our capital, to assess if they couldn't apply this concept on their international missions. So you go on your international mission, you take the 3D printer from Lyria, and you can build your own homes where you have your business. I'm absolutely sure that Ireland and Finland, but also Austria and Hungary, partners will co-contribute when this project will further take off. And it's interesting that here it has been an initiative in the innovation ecosystem from NGOs, Run University, but also an essential stakeholder in our region, the Air Force. The final example, maybe I can have the next one, is really very premature, but it could be quite significant in the longer term as well. Here we have the initiative from Ireland, the Wild Ocean Road, and the Netherlands along the North Sea coast, but probably quickly to be followed by the areas also from the lake districts in Finland, Hungary, Austria, and of course the coastline of Portugal, where we are developing a future vision on sustainable tourism along the coast. And it means that, for instance, festivals for our students, where they have competition on sustainable startups, digitalization of tourism via virtual and augmented reality are part of that project. So again, something that is starting bottom up, but it would be easy to extend that and enrich that with the other partners in the EU consortium, in the EU Run EU Alliance. Concluding, maybe I can have the next slide. Both top-down but also bottom-up, Run EU offers opportunities for quadruple helix developments. I'm sorry that I only had these examples from Netherlands, Portugal, Ireland, but of course it counts for all our partners. And we can profit from it in the quadruple helix. But again, like also has been said before in I believe, panel 3, we should be aware of that the industry partners and the businesses in our regions also expect from us maybe new and other things than we can offer right now. So it's an import-export thing, not only within the region, but also between the regions. Rory, turn over to you again.
Thank you, Han. I think we just have one final slide to say that today does mark a very significant milestone in the development of Run European University, because now we have established Run EU, but today we hope to get the second pillar, our regional government pillar of EasyID, initiated, and we hope this will happen, and we know it will happen today, when our regional government partners will endorse a collective MOU to progress the establishment of the European Zone for Interregional Development and all its potential, and all the potential I think that Häme has shown. And we want to wish all of our partners in Running U, all the universities, all the regional government partners, all the economic, business and industry partners, and indeed their social partners, every success with all the work that they will do collectively in their European Zone of Interregional Development. Thank you very much.
Thank you both for your interesting remarks. Let's now look specially into each region. We'll start with Ireland and give voice to Pat Daly, CEO of Limerick City and County Council. Mr. Daly, how does Limerick City and County Council interact with the remaining regional innovation ecosystem entities, particularly with LAT, and how do you expect that RunEU will act as an innovation accelerator in your region?
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here and a pleasure to be talking on this topic. Limerick is unusual. We are the third largest city in Ireland, but we have a very strong history as an innovation location. The first managed workspaces in Ireland were set up in Limerick. The very first innovation centre accelerator was set up in Limerick all in the 70s and early 80s, and the first technological park was built in Limerick. So there is a strong innovation gene in the area, in the region. We're quite unusual as a local authority in that we have actually a dedicated innovation company set up, which is a wholly owned subsidiary called Innovate Limerick, and its job is to do what it says, to innovate activity, both economically and socially. And at the table are all key partners in innovation, so university sector, particularly LIT, the public and private players, so key people from the foreign direct investment, international businesses, bigger indigenous firms, smaller firms are all on and represented on the board. So it's quite unusual for a local authority to have an innovation arm, a company, to do part of its work. And its core role is to open up innovation, to create a platform for open innovation. And at the heart of innovation, we all know, is networking and collaboration. So this is kind of a neutral space that we have created and staffed, and that it runs a number of accelerators, it runs a number of community centres, and this remote working idea has become very prevalent now through COVID. So quite an unusual step taken, and that brings the players together, and it allows people and the different organisations to work together in a very non-threatening, in a very open, in a very kind of constructive way. LIT is a founding director, a founding member of that organisation. They are very close to the client. They are in our city and they're in each part of our region, which is unusual for a higher education facility. And they have been a core partner with us. And we were delighted when they asked us to join this network, and we're very excited by it because it's an extension of the work we're doing with LIT and in and throughout Innovate Limerick. So this has done some radical strange things, like we have developed and built a new film studio and created a whole new subsector in film and creative industries. We're doing the same in sports technology. We're doing the same in financial technology, and we're doing the same in social innovation. So people are coming, and the great thing is they are able to come to Innovate, and they're able to work with LIT and the university base to develop new proposals. And in fact, we will even part fund or fully feasibility a lot of those proposals. So working with LIT has been critical because they are giving us the knowledge base, they have the expertise, and they have given us the platforms to work with them. And that has included seconding staff to innovate, to work on specific projects, particularly technology projects. They have been providing technical support for project applications and open calls for grant aid and funding aid from the national calls and the international calls. And they've also been participating in our overseas networks where we will actually go overseas presenting opportunities in Limerick. So I think the last part of your question was, how do we expect the RunEU project to be a further accelerator? Well, I think it will be an extension of the work we're doing both at Innovate Limerick and with our technology and innovation partners. I think it's going to bring new blood, if we can say that, to the system. It's going to bring new expertise. We're going to learn from our partners in the network. And as I said, the whole idea about opening up innovation is creating the collaborations and the networks. So adding to our network, our existing network, will give us a new powerful international dimension. And we're really excited by it and very much looking forward to hopefully seeing you all in person when it is appropriate and we get through this COVID pandemic. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Daly, for your words. To stay in Ireland, my home country, we would like to listen to Pat Gallagher, Chief Executive of Westmeath County Council. Mr. Gallagher, do you share the same thoughts as your neighbour? And how does Westmeath County Council interact with the remaining regional innovation ecosystem entities, particularly with Athlone IT? And how do you expect that Run EU will act as an innovation accelerator for this region? Sorry, Mr. Gallagher, you're on mute.
Thank you. Both good afternoon to all colleagues and guests, and I'm delighted to join Pat Daly and other colleagues in this conversation, and thanks for the invitation to do so. County Westmeath is in the centre of Ireland, right at the heart of the Midlands region, and it includes the town of Athlone, which is designated as a regional growth centre under Ireland's national planning framework. Westmeath County Council plays a leading role in the economic, social and cultural development of the area. Athlone Institute of Technology, or AIT, is one of our key collaborators in that important work. AIT is a principal enabler of development within this region, and this council strongly supports its partnership with the Limerick Institute of Technology to form Ireland's newest technological university, which will be an even stronger leader of transformation within the combined adjoining regions of Ireland's Midlands and Midwest. And I think their membership of this Run EU network is an important signal of their joint commitment to the Technological University project. And it opens to this region the possibility of collaboration with other EU centres on cross-regional themes of mutual interest. For example, in this part of Ireland, we are currently transitioning as part of Ireland's Climate Action Plan from being a traditional centre of carbon-dependent energy generation based on peat production. So it is the focus of the Irish government's Just Transition initiative, and it's proposed to include this region for participation in the European Union's coal and carbon regions in transition programme. The AIT and indeed the new Technological University has an important role to play in this region's just transition journey through fostering innovation and new technologies and employment to help replace those being lost by moving away from carbon and move on a greener pathway. To illustrate this, AIT and LIT have partnered with public, private and community organisations to secure investment from the Irish Government's Just Transition Fund for the Empower Eco project. And this will establish a social enterprise business model that integrates natural resources, enterprise, biodiversity, community and social innovation with lifelong learning. I'd also like to mention briefly two other examples of our collaboration with AIT. This council promotes business and enterprise development within the area, principally through our local enterprise office. And in doing so, we work closely with the Midlands Innovation Research Centre within AIT. That centre provides incubation space, business support, and enterprise development for innovative startup enterprises from within our region. And it makes available the wider resources and expertise of AIT to support companies and enterprises within the region. And I think that offering will be enhanced through the Technological University and participation in the Run EU network. We also work with AIT to extend greater access to higher education within our area, both spatially and socially. For example, early last year, we partnered with AIT to establish an AIT Learning Gate in our e-working centre that's located on our council headquarters campus in Mullingar, which is the county town. And this provides a high quality learning facility where AIT staff and students can come, meet, work together, interact through provision of in-person, blended and online learning. And it's a significant step in extending AIT's reach within this region. And we look forward to its further development in partnership with AIT as part of the Technological University and also as part of this Run EU network. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gallagher. Traveling to Finland, to the region of Häme, we would like to hear the thoughts of Anne-Marie Ahonen, Region Mayor of the Regional Council of Häme in Finland. Mrs. Ahonen, how does your regional development program align with Run EU's mission and vision? And how do you expect this transnational network will strengthen your regional innovation ecosystem?
Thank you for the question. I have to check that. Do you hear me? Excellent. So many greetings from the region of Häme in southern Finland. And also thank you for the invitation to this very, very topical, inspirational and important conference. The region of Häme is currently in the preparation of our new regional development program for the years 2022 and 2025. This program is known as the Green Growth Program of Häme. It links Häme's higher education institutions, businesses, municipalities, NGOs, cities and communities to regional development in a new way. Actually, very much in a way that we have learned here today. Häme Green Growth Program is based on regional ecosystem thinking and stresses the importance of international collaboration and strong involvement of key stakeholders, such as higher education institutions. Our region Häme is also renewing at the moment its smart specialization strategy, which is an important part of the Häme Green Growth Program as well. Häme University of Applied Science, which is also a member of Run EU Regional University Network Alliance, is a very important collaboration partner for us in our regional development related work. As we know, economic globalization, technological and industrial transformation, digitalization and changing logic of value creation pose challenges and provide new opportunities for innovation and growth. So access to international value chains is more important. This requires completely new skills. International know-how of people and organizations is highly needed today and even more in the future. Innovation platforms and ecosystems that connect several different industries and stakeholders will play even a prominent role in the future. Innovation cooperation takes place more and more in international setting, in international consortiums, networks and partnerships. Combining knowledge, data, skills and intelligence across regional and national borders makes it possible to create new innovations and products, and to foster growth and vitality in the regions. In Häme, the aim is to bring agile, multidisciplinary, and internationally capable experts and forms of cooperation into the innovation ecosystem, together with our own Häme University of Applied Sciences. Run EU Alliance's strategic collaboration priorities like future industry and sustainable regional development, the bioeconomy, social innovation are very well online with the Green Growth Development Program of our own Häme region. Run EU Alliance and its interregional European innovation hubs are very important when building our innovation ecosystem as part of specialization, establishing international partnerships and strengthening cooperation. Run EU network cooperation and platform will clearly foster mutual co-creation, transfer of knowledge, benchmarking and bench learning. I think that Run EU Regional University Network Alliance is an excellent example of future-oriented, innovative and skills-driven international cooperation model, also from the regional point of view. The region of Häme is fully committed and looking very much forward to the future collaboration with you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your words, Anna Marie Ahonen. Let's move on now and travel to the Netherlands. Arno Brok is the Kingslayer of Friesland in the Netherlands. Mr. Brok, is it the same in the as Friesland? And what are the main strategic development goals of the province today and for the longer term? And how do you expect that Run EU transnational network to support innovation and development? Mr. Brok.
Hi.
Hi, Mr. Brok. Did you hear the question I asked? I can repeat it if not.
Hello.
Hello, how are you? Did you, sorry, Mr. Brok, did you hear the question I asked? I can repeat it if not.
No, I didn't. I heard about someone from Netherlands is going to move on. Who is next?
Mr. Brok?
I'm Emile Bok, but I'm from Romania, not from Netherlands.
Okay.
We can move forward and then we'll be back to Mr. Brok. I think we have a problem with the
My
system.
name is Bok, but I'm in the final,
Yes,
the end, the last one from the closing panel.
Yes, Mr. Brok is on the top. No problem. We're moving on to Austria and we'll give voice to Gabriela Dur. Mrs. Dur, as head of the Department of Science and Continuing Education of the Federal State of Vorarlberg, what will be, in your perspective, the major future challenges faced by universities as integrated elements of regional innovation ecosystems? And how do you think European universities, as Run EU, will contribute to accelerate that role?
Good afternoon to everybody, and thank you very much for this very interesting and inspiring conference. Thank you also for the invitation. As we have seen in Vorarlberg, universities play a crucial role in developing innovative ecosystems. Vorarlberg is a highly dynamic and innovative region with a strong industrial character. 30% of all the employees work in the manufacturing sector. The business sector accounts for 89% of R&I expenses. Our University of Applied Sciences, Fachhochschule Vorarlberg, was founded in the early 90s in order to secure a highly skilled workforce for the companies and thus support their ability to innovate. The RTI strategy of Vorarlberg therefore aims at further strengthening and expanding the science and research structures, and also with a focus on international collaboration. Universities of applied sciences are no ivory towers. They understand themselves as active partners of economy and society, as a driving force for technological, economic, and social development. And as drivers of change, they understand the mastery of future challenges as their mandate and task. And the challenges we are facing, like digitalization, artificial intelligence, mobility, the scarce of resources, sustainable development, migration, and last but not least, the consequences of COVID-19 pandemic are enormous. Universities need to prepare students through teaching, research, and also lifelong learning to cope with the challenges of the future. And they need to act as knowledge hubs and transfer centers for economy and science as a whole. Thus, our universities need to be attractive for the students. The competition for the best minds is fierce. The need for the best workforce for training and research. They need to train for the needs of the companies now and anticipate future qualifications and skills. In order to successfully master these challenges, university, on the other hand, need a good infrastructure for teaching, for research, and they need sufficient funding as well as full political support, an appropriate framework which they can develop, in which they can develop and implement their ideas, such as the European Universities Initiatives. And universities need a network of partners on a national, but also on an international level to share ideas with, to bundle strengths and resources, to bring together students and staff members, burning for the idea of jointly developing the foundations for a sustainable innovation ecosystem that is economically successful, but at the same time, a livable living space. Bringing together the most ambitious universities, the European Universities Initiatives perfectly promotes and supports the development of regions towards sustainable, innovative ecosystems. So with the RunEU network, the universities and the affected regions are facing the same challenges, more or less, working, cooperating with the stakeholders, the companies, the public authorities, institutions of social, but also cultural life in different European countries will generate a greater strength and a new spirit that will accelerate the development and the implementation of new ideas and solutions that we need for the future challenges. So Vorarlberg is very great and proud to be part of RunEU, and we assure all possible support to the project to be a successful one. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your words. And if Arno Brok is free, I can repeat the question if, or you can fire away, whatever suits.
Hello, can you hear me now? Yes, all right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The question was very clear. In the province of Friesland, we have introduced the mission-based approach as a concept. This means that we have put societal challenges in accordance with the UN Sustainable Development Goals at the top of our political agenda. We have translated the mission into the so-called Blue Delta concept. Delta because we are a delta, and delta because this represents necessary changes. For a region that is largely below sea level, anticipating external changes has always been the guiding motive. Within the context of Blue Delta, we have for the time being defined 3 sub-missions along which we want to initiate. European projects. The submissions are inspired by water, become circular, and explore the rural society. We will link the regional qualities of our region to the lessons we have learned from being a European capital of culture in 2018. This means a key role for the meanskip. This, in our own language, the Frisian language, means the meanskip community. We consider this meanskip as a special competence that can help to develop projects jointly within the province and with partners in Europe, and bottom up, in order to contribute to solving the grand challenges such as climate change and the loss of biodiversity. The RUN project fits seamlessly into this, both in terms of content and approach, and with partners that fit perfectly well with our approach. So we can learn from each other, but also bring ourselves together to a next level. I'm looking forward to our further cooperation, not only for joint activities via the RUN EU higher education partners, but also via more intensive bonds between our regional economies, such as proposed in the RUN EZED agreement. Het was mooi om bij je te wezen. It was nice to be with you. Please be welcome in the nearest future in our bilingual province of Friesland.
Thank you, Mr. Brok. I would like to go now to Győr in Hungary, and hear the thoughts from the municipality of Győr about how you characterize the quadruple helix approach in the cooperation of the institutions of the city of Győr.
Thank you very much. Welcome all the ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dávid Fekete. I am a member of the local council of the city of Győr, and I'm also the member of the Hungarian university academic staff, Széchenyi István University, as assistant professor. So for me, it's really important, also personally, to build good cooperation between the municipality and the Széchenyi István University. You may know that Győr is located on the western part of Hungary, between Vienna and Budapest. That's why it's a really good located center for economy since decades, since centuries. And for us was always very important the industrial tradition since more than 2 decades, and the innovation potential of the city is really high in Hungary. Since a decade, there is a really important triple helix cooperation in the city between the municipality, the Széchenyi István University, and also the most important economic actors of the city. And nowadays, it is enlarged as quadruple helix with the most important actors of the civil society. You may know that Győr is the second biggest economic center of Hungary, and in Győr there is the world's biggest car manufacturing engine factory, and also a car plant owned by Volkswagen Group, by the company of Audi. So that's why innovation is really important for us, and this triple helix and now quadruple helix model is also serving this innovation in the city. For us, it's really important to work together on the development of the city. The slogan of the city is "The future is being built in Győr," and the most important actors are the local university, the municipality, the actors of the economic sphere, such like Audi and many SMEs in the city, and also the members of the civil society. But we are also working on many projects which are close to innovation projects, concerning cultural projects, sports projects. We have organized the European Youth Olympic Festival in 2017, and we also work together for our bid for the European Capital of Culture bid for 2023. So innovation ecosystem is really important for the actors of the Győr quadrupole helix, and it's a great pleasure for us working together with you and with your institutions. Thank you very much for this project, and congratulations for the organizer. And I hope we will meet soon in order to work together and to strengthen together the most important innovation hubs of Europe. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for sharing your valuable thoughts. Now, to close off the panel session, after all these interesting discussions, we'd now like to hear a closing statement from Emile Brok, Rapporteur of the European Committee of the Regions. Mr. Brok, we pass the word to you.
Thank you so much, dear colleagues. We have two panelists with almost the same name, Mr. Brok from Netherlands. It's a pleasure to see you, and Bok BOC from Cluj-Napoca, Romania. So I am the mayor of the second largest city in Romania, Cluj-Napoca, and we are a university city with more than 100,000 students. And I used to define our city using 4 letters T. And first, it's talents, because you have students and 10 public and private universities. And this is the most important asset of our city. And the second and the third and the fourth T would be tolerance, technology, and trust. But I'm going to talk just about talents and how important is the university for the ecosystem of innovation in our city. Our city was last year in the very final of the European Capital of Innovations. We are in the last 6 cities, and due to our ecosystem, based on multi-helix approach, having public administration, universities, citizens, business environment, and citizens and NGOs together to create such a strong ecosystem in order to move forward. Our approach is right now that we moved from being a very heavy industrial city during the communist time to acknowledge city economy. Why? Because we saw that the innovation, the knowledge economy is the most important asset of our city, the university in the end. So we know that the only resource on this earth which is unlimited is knowledge. Who provide the knowledges? The universities. So the present and the future of our city, it's focused on knowledge and of course on universities, because as I said, is the most important resource on the planet now and in the future, because as I said, it's unlimited. Our approach is to move now from something in innovation made in Cluj-Napoca to invented in Cluj-Napoca, the next stage, using again the university as a core concept, having at the middle the innovation system. In the end, someone said that all politics is local. I would say better, all education is local, because everything is taking place at the local level and depends on us, how we deal at the local level together with universities, business environment, citizens, NGOs, and entire society to move forward in this component. And of course, when you have the university, you have the innovation at the base. You cannot construct an ecosystem of innovation without the university. But if you have it, you have a competitive advantage, and you have to emphasize and to do everything which is possible to promote and to support the university as the core center of the ecosystem of innovation. Because innovation cannot be dictated from Brussels. We can have, of course, support from Brussels in terms of money from different programs, but the ecosystem should and must be created at the local level. You cannot have ecosystem at the national ecosystem of innovation at the national level. Of course, maybe in small countries would be possible, but otherwise, at the local and regional level is the place where you can have the local ecosystem of innovations. And right now, as a rapporteur from the European Committee of the Regions, in what we called the European education area, we are very much focused on supporting to create by 2025 the European education area, where we are underlying the importance of building strategic partnership between local and regional authorities and their universities, because universities are center players in the knowledge square: education, research, innovation, and service to society. And universities play a key role in developing resilient local communities and regions. In the end, university education can promote brain gain and brain circulation to diminish the brain drain, and can help Europe attract a high level of international talents. From that perspective, the EU has proposed far-reaching reforms in university education, such as the European Universities, Student Mobility, the European Student Card Initiative, and other initiatives monitoring the employment of graduates and automatic mutual recognition of higher education qualifications. Local and regional authorities must be able to develop strategic partnership with universities and to contribute to this transformation. And now what is most important, we have the tools, because it's something to have a vision, it's something just to have a dream, but now we have the tools, because Antoine de Saint-Exupéry mentioned once, a goal without a plan is just a wish. We have now the goal, 2025, to have the European education area, the university at the core. And now we do have the instruments to have this wish and to have this plan by 2025. And here they are, the Next Generation EU program and the structural funds, together with European education area, European research area, which have to use the synergy of funds between all of these elements and to focus what is the digital, not the digital, it is the twin transition, digital and green. And here the innovation and university are the most important actors. You cannot have a green and digital transition without innovation in universities. And everything, as I said, is happening at the local level, having, as I mentioned, an ecosystem. Here, multiple helix, which I have behind of mine, that the most important aspect, I said, ecosystems, not ecosystems, and working in networks. That, I think, is the key for success and the key to have, as Ursula von der Leyen and Commissioner Maria Gabriela said, always to have the very first continent climate neutral on Earth, Europe, by 2050, and to have the most unicorns in Europe, the most unicorns in the world, now in Europe, using our potential of innovation, working together in this ecosystem, not ego system approach, and using the networks of the universities. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brok, for your words, and for all our panelists today, and for my colleague Miguel as well for moderating the panel. We will take a short recess until 1:45, where we'll go on to signing of the Memorandum of Understanding with the representatives. Look forward to seeing you all back then.
Thank you so much.